Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Alvina Nurfadila and I'm from the 5th semester of English Education Department from Islamic Majapahit University. Okay, so here I want to explain about introduction to ESP. So our agenda today is there are 5. The first is introduction to ESP, which is I want to explain about the aim, characteristic, the importance of ESP, and how to improve knowledge and skills in ESP. And for the second is ESP and ESL. I will explain about the differences, the teacher's role in ESP. And for the third is ESP course. I will explain about the categorized in ESP. And the next is ESP vocabulary teaching. I will explain about the aim of it and source of motivation. And the next is ESP International Sample Lesson Plan. I will show you the sample of the lesson plan. Okay, so the first is the aim of the ESP is to determine the needs of a specific groups of learners. ESP is often divided into two types. The first is English for academic purposes, and the second is English for occupational purposes. Sometimes this English for occupational purposes is divided into three kinds. The first is business English, and the second is professional English, just like doctors, lawyers, and etc. And the third is vocational English. It's just like, for example, English for tourism, English for aviation, or English for bricklaying. And the next is characteristic of ESP. There are three characteristics of ESP. The first is ESP is designed to meet the specific needs of the learners. The second is ESP makes use of the underlying methodology and activities of the specialism it serves. And the third is it is centered not only on the language like grammar, lexis, register, but also the skills, discourses, and genres appropriate to those activities. Why is ESP important? There are three reasons why is ESP important. The first reason is there has been an increase in vocational training and learning throughout the world. The second is with the spread of globalization has come the increasing use of English as the language of international communication. More and more people are using English in a growing number of occupational contexts. The third is students are starting to learn and therefore master general English at a younger age and to move on to ESP at an earlier age. Nah, jadi yang pertama, karena banyak peningkatan pelatihan dan pembelajaran vokasional di seluruh dunia, maka sangat penting bagi kita untuk belajar ESP. And the second is dengan penyebaran globalisasi yang telah ada ini menyebabkan penggunaan bahasa Inggris sebagai bahasa komunikasi internasional. Jadi lebih banyak orang yang ingin menggunakan bahasa Inggris untuk dalam konteks pekerjaan. Nah, for the third is murid mulai belajar bahasa Inggris di usia sejak dini. Maksudnya yang general bahasa Inggris ini sudah diajarkan mulai dini, sejak dari TK, SD, dan seterusnya. Maka besar kemungkinan untuk anak lulus SMA itu sudah bisa belajar ESP. How teachers can improve their knowledge and skill in a particular area of ESP. First, curiosity. The teacher should be interested in the subject area and want to learn more. Second, collaboration. Teachers should seek out subject specialists, show them their work, and ask for their feedback. Third, confidence. confidence will grow as teachers explore the new subject matter, engage with subject specialists, and learn from their learners. And the next is ESP and ESL. I will explain about the difference of ESP and ESL. So the differences is learner, purpose, and the aim. Ada 3 perbedaan dalam ESP dan ESL. ESL itu adalah English as second language, ya. Yang ESP adalah English for specific purposes. Nah, ESP dan ESL memiliki perbedaan di pelajarnya. Okay, for ESP, the learner of ESP are usually adults who already have some acquaintance with English. But ESL learner are students who are not currently proficient as English speakers and are in the process of developing their English language skills. Nah, jadi di sini pelajar ESP itu biasanya adalah remaja atau orang dewasa yang sudah memiliki kemampuan bahasa Inggris secara general. Sedangkan untuk yang learner ESL itu adalah pelajar yang masih proses dalam pengembangan kemampuan bahasa Inggris secara general. And the second difference is purposes. For ESP, the purpose, they are learning the language in order to communicate a set of professional skills and to perform particular job-related function. Nah, untuk ESP ini tujuannya adalah untuk berkomunikasi secara profesional, biasanya dalam konteks pekerjaan. But in other side, the purpose of ESL is to enable limited English proficient students to become competent in the comprehension, speaking, reading, and composition of the English language through the integrated use of second language methods. Nah, untuk yang the purpose of ESL itu adalah untuk meningkatkan kemampuan murid dalam comprehension speaking, dalam berbicara, membaca, menulis, seperti itu. Mereka equal, sedangkan di ESP mereka tidak equal, tidak harus belajar semuanya. Jika yang dibutuhkan hanya reading, maka ya yang dipelajari yang ditekankan adalah reading. Ketika yang dibutuhkan speaking, maka yang ditekankan speaking dalam konteks tertentu. And the third difference is the aim of instructions. In ESP, it is a needs analysis that determines which language skills are most needed by the students, and the syllabus is designed accordingly. But in ESL, all 4 language skills, listening, reading, speaking, and writing, are stressed equally. Nah, seperti yang saya jelaskan sebelumnya, bahwa di ESL, mereka harus belajar listening, reading, speaking, and writing, itu secara bersamaan. Mereka harus belajar semuanya. Sedangkan di ESP harus dianalisis dulu si students butuh apa, kurangnya di mana. Nah, di situ yang ditekankan. Maka setelah kita menganalisis butuhnya apa, kurangnya apa, baru dibuatkan silabusnya. Seperti itu. Next, teacher's role in ESP and ESL. A teacher that already has experience in teaching English as a second language or ESL can exploit her background in language teaching. She should recognize the ways in which her teaching skills can be adapted for the teaching of English for a specific purpose. Moreover, she will need to look for content specialists for help in designing appropriate lessons in the subject matter field she is teaching. As an ESP teacher, you must play many roles. You may be asked to organize courses, to set learning objectives, to establish a positive learning environment in the classroom, and to evaluate the students' progress. Teachers' roles in ESP. There are 6 teachers' roles in ESP. The first is organizing course. You have to set learning goals and then transform them into an instructional program with the timing of activities. Second, setting goals and objectives. You arrange the conditions for learning in the classroom and set long-term goals and short-term objectives for student achievement. And the third is creating a learning environment. Your skills for communication and mediation create the classroom atmosphere. Students acquire language when they have opportunities to use the language in interaction with other speakers. Okay, the next is evaluating students. The teacher is a resource that helps students identify their language learning problems and find solutions to them. Find out the skills they need to focus on and take responsibility for making choices which determine what and how to learn. And the fifth is interest for learning. People learn language when they have opportunities to understand and work with language in a context that they comprehend and find interesting. In this view, ESP is a powerful means for such opportunities. And the last is learning strategies. Adults must work harder than children in order to learn a new language, but the learning skills they bring to the task permit them to learn faster and more efficiently. The skills they have already developed in using their native languages will make learning English easier. ESP has some following characteristics according Kristen Gatehouse, 2001. The first, ESP is to fulfill some particular requirements of the learner. Second, ESP includes grammar, lexes, skills, and variations of activities. And the third is ESP can have some particular disciplines. The fourth is ESP is mainly planned for adult learners who can be at secondary level, also that is in a professional work situation. ESP vocabulary teaching in vocational high school. The target group discussed in this thesis includes adolescent vocational students between 15 and 20. It is not easy to learn English in this problematic age. This thesis is focused on vocational students with a lack of motivation and some learning difficulties with acquiring English. There is an increasing amount of students with different disabilities nowadays. Example like dyslexia, dysgraphia, mental problems, or physiological barriers, which can negatively influence the process of learning. So we can motivate them. The source of motivation can be from teacher, parents, and environment. The first, teacher. She is the key factor in students' motivation. He or she must have a positive attitude and enthusiasm for teaching English. If the teacher makes lesson interesting, the students like learning English and they appreciate it. The second is parents. If parents have positive attitudes to learning, it is easier for the students to study. The third is environment. It depends on what social background children come from. If they are brought up in a positive society, it is good for their school result. A positive classroom atmosphere should be created to enhance a good school environment. Okay, so the last is, this is the example of lesson plan, the ESP lesson plan. Okay, so I think enough for today. Thank you for watching my video and listen to my explanation. If I have many mistakes, of course I have it. I do apologize of it, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.